Good morning. I'm going to introduce our speaker today. His name is Tim Aten. He is a senior editor of Gulfshore Business magazine and a columnist for the Naples Press weekly newspaper. A Southwest Florida journalist since 1998, Tim has documented regional growth and development, especially local restaurants coming and going, in his weekly column for 17 years. He previously was news editor and chief online editor of the Naples Daily News, a columnist for the Florida Weekly, managing editor of the Key West Citizen, and city editor at small daily newspapers in Northeast Ohio. A communications graduate of Kent State University, he started his media career as an on-air disc jockey, radio news announcer, and newspaper staff writer. We at NABOR are honored to have Tim joining us today. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome him up to the podium for his presentation. There he is, titled, presentation titled, The Changing Local Landscape. Welcome, Tim.
Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Thanks for inviting me. It's my pleasure to chat with you all. Some of you I've probably used as sources over the years for different stories, but it's a pleasure though, and there'll be plenty of time at the end for questions, so if you can hold them until then. Well, it's not just your imagination. It's more and more difficult as time goes on to keep abreast of everything going on in Collier County, because, you know, it's just crazy nowadays. And it is for me too. It's hard for me to be abreast of everything that's happening here, but take it from a local journalist who has covered this area for more than 25 years. It's increasingly harder and harder because there's just not one source and there's so much happening. It's crazy, really crazy busy, as you all know, I'm sure. But the community, the good thing about it is there's more and more potential news stories, and it's just growing exponentially. That's why we saw a need to introduce the Naples Press. It's a new weekly newspaper. If you're not familiar, I did put some as you come in. If you were coming in, you might have seen them. And there's some pens there you're welcome to take, and my business cards. But it's a new weekly paper. We thought that there was needed to fill a void, that there was a need for it. And often I like to say that the one weekly paper has more local news in it than an entire week's of the daily. So, and I think that's probably true. Been celebrating the centennial of our area this year, which is quite phenomenal. 100th anniversary of Collier County, 100th anniversary of the city of Naples being incorporated, that is. But we realized that looking back that historically, that has grown from day one. And it started off more as a resort town. A lot of times people call it a fishing village, and there's some debate what the story is there, but it kind of really did start as a resort town, and it's grown from there. But the recent population increases, of course, have just really sped up the whole process. So it's growing exponentially. And I like to say, if you think you've seen a lot of changes in the last 30 years, wait till you see the next 30 years. Seriously, people talk about the good old days. Well, you'll be looking back at today as the good old days one of these days. So enjoy it while you can. Well, I personally don't think this is going to be the next Miami, as some people say. And I really kind of, to be honest, I hate to hear people say that, and nothing against Miami, but it's just that I just think that we're definitely, of course, on a growth trajectory, and we're clearly unstoppable, because if you look at recently, we had economic downturns. We had a couple of major hurricanes. We've had all the pandemic, of course. So, and then they didn't stop it. In fact, they actually accelerated growth in a lot of ways. The Collier County's population right now is around 400,000. And the number of people living here is expected to easily double and even maybe approach 1 million people. Build out those. So, we'll double today's population, but take a deep breath and relax, because it's not going to happen overnight. But because build out may not happen until 2090 is what they're thinking now. But it's all an estimate, of course, and it's The Collier interactive growth model is showing, though, that the majority of, well, the build out, by the way, when you hit build out, it's going to be, they're predicting 840,000 residents. So when you consider that we have 400,000 now, that's going to be incredible. And it provides a lot of opportunity for realtors, obviously. But by then, though, the majority of the population, this is what's interesting, by build out, an estimated 52%, so more than half of the people in Collier County will be living not east of 41, not east of 75, but east of Collier Boulevard. So just think about that, because that's really interesting. That's a dynamic change to our area. And it kind of is like an insider tip, really, for you all to consider what's going to happening out there. That may be where people want to put their attention. But folks are used to calling everything east of I-75 as Eastern Collier County. And I really don't like to see that, but it's kind of hard not to call Eastern Collier what we normally would think of. But, you know, but Collier, of course, is the largest county in Florida land-wise. And I really want to point out that the center of the county, actually, if you look on the map, is where State Route 29 is, State Road 29. So that's really the center. So that's east of Ave Maria. And the thing is, the eastern half of the county is mostly swamp, of course. So when we're talking about Eastern Collier, we're actually talking about Eastern inhabitable Collier County, at least as far as humans go. I don't want to anything against wildlife. But we'll see 2 new villages and the town of Big Cypress are both planned east of Golden Gate Estates. And they're planned by Collier Enterprises on more than 1,500 acres. And Big Cypress received the green light from the county this summer and plans to develop Rivergrass Village. And they're progressing and will be joining plans for the village of Belmar. And it's another master plan community between northern Golden Gate Estates and Ave Maria. And that's really just what we know now. I mean, there are a lot of things. I know a lot of things. I don't know everything. And there's a lot of things that are going to be happening we don't even know about. The coastal areas, such as the city of Naples, pretty much have already reached build out, because Naples, it's pretty finite, the area, even though people like to call all of Collier County Naples. I'm talking about Naples city limits. It's pretty much already reached build out. So, you know, the vacant land opportunities are just not there. So what you're going to be seeing for growth within the city going forward, which we've been seeing in the last many years already, is the redevelopment. So you're going to be seeing existing properties torn down and new ones being built in their place. And that's, you know, being demolished for new development. In Naples, you know, we've already seen this with projects like the Naples Beach Club, which they've torn down most of it already. And that's being redeveloped. Naples Square, as you may remember, if you've been here a while, that used to be Grand Central Station. And then the old Naples Hotel is proposed to where the plaza on 3rd Street used to be. And it's interesting because the demolition of Grand Central Station really sticks out on my mind. And then the plaza on 3rd Street, a 3rd Street Plaza, those were like the first shopping centers I remember ever being just torn down. And I admit that I've been in this area for a long time and I don't get out much, so I haven't seen that elsewhere. But I mean, to me, that was something when Grand Central Station was torn down, and now it's going to be Naples Square, a new hotel, and you've got the Gulfshore Playhouse nearby. And then you have also things like elsewhere outside the city limits, the Ritz-Carlton residences, which are being built on the property near Vanderbilt Beach, where the beach store used to be, and Daruma restaurant and other businesses, even a real estate office, I know. But anyway, what we're seeing are proposals to redevelop some golf courses also even in Golden Gate and East Naples. So that's also a factor that's going to be in play going forward probably. Home prices, which we did, you know, especially have climbed during the pandemic. Everybody wanted to be here, and why not? Of course, it is paradise. But they're leveling off some, but we don't expect to see a major swing, of course, like we did in the Great Recession. You know, but everybody really wants to live here. In fact, I was talking last night to Christopher Wellesley, who's the dean of the business college at FGCU, and I asked him, told him I was speaking to you all this morning, And I asked him what his thoughts are on the economy. And all he basically wanted to say was that there will be a correction, but it's not going to be anything serious. Again, it's not going to be anything that Naples isn't going to be able to overcome. And he disagrees with it being Miami as well, but he thinks we're going to be Tampa. So, but perhaps prices, prices again, home prices have been kind of a sticker shock for our historic Midwestern transplants that we've had here for many years. But if you're thinking about people coming from New York City and places like California, it's kind of a bargain, really. So, and also, of course, the well-heeled that find their way here from almost everywhere. But perhaps that's why we're seeing some more membership type of businesses that are invitation-only venues, such as Butcher in North Naples, the Maddox, which is coming October 1st to Bayshore Drive in East Naples. And the private clubs are planned for both Blue Provence and the Warren American Whiskey Kitchen. And Warren Naples is going to be in the Collective in the Naples Design District, and it's supposed to open in early November, maybe late October. But we're seeing some more upscale dining options as well. And they're planned as redevelopment or second generation type of projects in the downtown area, or ushering in what I've been told they refer to it as the Four Seasons effect. So the Four Seasons, as you know, is being built in where Naples Beach Club was. It still will be called Naples Beach Club, but it's the future upscale beachfront resort is already drawing luxurious attention. So it's attracting more of the same and people who want to kind of be here and ride in on their coattails. We kind of saw that before with the when the Ritz-Carltons came as well in the 80s. So designs for some of these restaurants are phenomenal too, by the way. So they're really truly stunning, some of these new restaurants. There are places that you're going to want to be seen in. The aforementioned Warren Naples is one of them. The Le Colonial, which is being, it's a Vietnamese French restaurant that's being built in the footprint of where Patty Murphy's used to be, and different ones, Bellini and Citrus Restaurant there on Fifth Avenue. That was torn down, and they're going to be on the bottom. I mean, they're just, if you go to the website, La Colonial Chicago, for instance, and you see their location there, I mean, it's just going to be a stunning place. Another one would be this new, it's called Limon Rooftop Bar, and it's atop the new Marriott, which is called the AC Hotel Naples Fifth Avenue. It's kind of a strange name, but it's going to be built, and it's on that property again. I mentioned at Naples Square, where Grand Central Station was, and it's going to be next to, of course, the new Gulfshore Playhouse, as I mentioned, which is again is a great project, and they were set back from Hurricane Ian just recently, and so they're going to be not opening now this season. They won't open until the 24-25 season. The Bayshore Gateway Triangle, again, this is phenomenal because it's a redevelopment area that is just exploding as you go down over the Gordon River Bridge into East Naples. And while this development won't actually physically extend the city limits of Naples, mentally it will expand the perception of the city, kind of push it south. I refer to much the same way that Pelican Bay and Waterside Shops and Artist Naples did, is kind of pushing the city north, even though they're outside the city limits. But Metropolitan Naples will be the cornerstone of the project. It's under construction now. And you see the big crane over Davis Boulevard, but it's going to have the 15-story Aura condominiums, and the Ascent apartments are part of that, as well as there'll be restaurants and retail. And then in the point of the corner, they haven't even broken ground yet on the Ellington, which is going to be another 10-story project there. So it's going to be jarring when you go down that way. I remember when I first went down 10th and I saw Naples Square, which hadn't been there before, and I actually jumped the first couple of times. I don't know if it's just bizarre, but it's like all of a sudden, wow, there's this building right there, right on the street practically. So I think that's what this is going to have, that kind of a jarring effect for people who aren't used to seeing these buildings there on the corner of Davis and the East Trail. On more than 4 acres, right almost across from where the Ellington's being built and Metropolitan Naples will be, and it's on the East Trail if you're familiar with where the Little Italy restaurant used to be, and there was a Checkers drive-in years ago. That 4 acres there is going to be redeveloped, and it's moving through the permitting stage right now. And it's planned, it's Columbia Sussex, it's a Cincinnati company, is looking at they're proposing anyway a 438-room hotel with a conference center and an understory parking. So that again is all part of that piece there that we're seeing being redeveloped. Projects are currently being planned though, and the land is being cleared throughout Collier County. The second phase of Restaurant Row is under construction down at near Freedom Square as you go into the entrance there off of Collier Boulevard. And I know it's been very troubling. I can't get specifics on this project. What I can find in the Collier permitting process is great. There's one building under construction now. It will be a TD Bank and have a restaurant, a joint, with it. It's a 2-unit building, but I can't find what the restaurant is. And then there'll be another building near between it and the Staybridge Hotel down there that will have 2 restaurants in it. One of them will be a drive-through and a fast food place, but again, I don't know what they are. And then there'll be a third building with probably 3 medical units, but that's at the Restaurant Row. I get asked about all the time, and it's frustrating because I want to answer. I've mentioned what I've told you so far, but I don't have specifics beyond that. Camus and Hammock Park, they're being built at Rattlesnake Hammock in Collier. Get asked about that a lot. There's a new 7-Eleven going to open there. There'll be a retail strip and more housing. As it's kind of surrounds the Florida Sports Park, which eventually will probably be forced to move further east. Rooms to Go is combining their 2 locations, one that they lease for Rooms to Go patio and the Rooms to Go building, which I remember reporting when they moved from the last place. So then they're moving again to a larger space in that big lot on 41 that I used to drive by and go, why hasn't somebody built there, next to the inn of Naples. And that's what's going there, Rooms to Go. Germain Lexus and Aspire Naples Apartments, it just cleared these 2 lots. I think they're each around, I want to say 9 acres. That sounds like too much, but maybe it is. And they just cleared their side-by-side wooded lots, kind of across from Seed to Table before you get to Walmart. And it's kind of jarring when you go by because you're so used to seeing trees there, and all of a sudden, woo, now it's just a blank slate there. But that's Germain Lexus. I've seen the plans for that, and it's really nice. It's a step up from what they have on Wiggins and 41, and I'm not sure what they're going to be putting where Lexus is, but it's probably at least a year away anyway before they make the move. I'll be writing soon about more housing opportunities, more housing projects, commercial projects that are planned on Immokalee Road, especially east of 951. In addition to more commercial in the Founders Square area, we still have 4 more out parcels which haven't even broken ground yet there. And there'll be a lot of businesses filling in the plaza at Founders Square, which Ace Hardware is the only business so far that's open there to anchor that. And on the other end of it will be another new restaurant called Ore and Iron. And so it's going to be interesting. That's filling in. And on the opposite corner, caddy corner, is the Tree Farm PUD, which I'm still not sure what's going to go there. I know there'll be some kind of retail center, commercial center. So that'll be more new opportunities for that corner, which is considered an activity center by Collier County. And also, if you keep driving down Immokalee, I remember I used to call it Church Row because it was just church, drive a little bit of church, another church, which I think it's easier for churches because most of that zoned agriculture. So it's easier for churches to get it rezoned. But now you're seeing all these spaces in between those churches being filled in, or they're going to be filled in, mark my words. So those open gaps, that's happening. I'm trying to find out more about those. I did find out recently about a couple of them I'll be writing about soon. But further out, there's some major mixed use projects. We've written about most of them, but they're interesting and nonetheless. The Randall at Orange Tree, which is at the area people call the Randall Curve. And the Randall at Orange Tree is kind of an unfortunate name because it's not on Randall and it's technically not an orange tree. It's across the street. So go figure. And then the shops at Orange Blossom, they're underway next to Palmetto Ridge High School. And both of those new developments, well, the shops at Orange Blossom has not broken ground yet, but it will, and there'll be a new Publix there coming, I think, in 2025. The other location has an Aldi store, and right now the only there's an adjoining property next to it called Winchester PUD that will be connected. And right now the only building that so far has is up is the new McDonald's that's going there. But there'll be an Aldi store and a lot of other retail that don't even know what it is yet. But both of those developments there, one on Oil Well, one on Immokalee Road, as you head north, will have 400 unit apartment complexes as part of them. Local restaurants this year have seen many more changes than normal. And I think it's just a combination of lots of things, but it's tough to make ends meet when you have higher food costs cutting into what's already slim profit margins for these restaurants. And, not to mention, of course, they have a lot of staffing issues. They have to deal with trauma, the same as everyone has from the economy, the pandemic, and major hurricanes. But we've seen some favorite restaurants close recently. Bonefish Grill and Cafe dell'Amore didn't survive the hurricane. The original Napoli in the Bay Pizza, which it's closed ahead of redevelopment there in the Creighton Cove area. I just found out this week that the Pearl Seafood and Steak is closed in North Naples, and that has been a favorite. And it had, even when it was before, it was Stonewood Tavern. The Turtle Club, which was washed out by the storm surge, completely wiped away, won't reopen this fall as projected, but it still will reopen, but probably more towards the end of the year, maybe early part of January, late December. They're hoping to be open by Christmas. We've seen many restaurants change hands. The original Pelican Larry's there on Pine Ridge Road became the Oasis. The original Fuji on Naples Boulevard became Binto Thai. Fish 41 now on the East Trail now is Stick Sushi and Seafood. Industry Pizza, which was on Pine Ridge Road, one of those, the Chris Jones project, will become Floridita Cuban Bakery. Angelic Desserts, which is in the shops at Vanderbilt, is making a big move, but it's only next door, and so that'll be neat, and it's going to be larger, and they'll be offering more Angelic Desserts and cafe. What was formerly, they're moving into the Naughty Hog barbecue space, by the way, their shops at Vanderbilt. Southern Kitchen, which is in Bayfront, and it's been in numerous things over the years, Merridays and Alto Jazz Kitchen and Bianchi's, and when Chrissy Bianchi had it. But it's Southern Kitchen now is going to be Ambrosi and Sons Italian Market and Restaurant. So, and I'm hoping it's going to be similar to DeRomo's up in Bonita. Most notably, the Hoffman family of companies, they purchased Blue Provence lately, and Phelan Family Brands bought out the Skip Quillen's Culinary Concepts, 3 restaurants on Fifth Avenue, as well as the one in Bonita, but that's Chops, Pazzo, and Yaba. And Yaba is going to be reimagined as Key Wadens on Fifth. So it'll be a new restaurant. It's actually completely gutted now. More than 100 new restaurants launched already in this region and so far this year. And notable openings include, in Collier County anyway, include PJK Neighborhood Chinese, which is a Paul Fleming restaurant. If you're not familiar, Paul Fleming is the Fleming behind Fleming's restaurant. And he also is the one, he's the PF and Paul Fleming PF and PF Chang's. He created that concept. And he did Payway, and now he's also the majority owner of Lake Park Diner, which is planning a couple new locations, one on Bonita Beach Road and one in Founder Square, which is already under construction now. They finally have vertical construction there. But anyway, there's a lot of new ones coming. Sofra at the Ritz is a new one that opened when the Ritz finally reopened in July. Reopened after the hurricane. Again, they had some serious damage there. which kind of wiped out a lot of the things that maybe weren't public facing, but things like their washers and dryers and the rooms where they kept all the furniture for different events they might have, and the HR department and things like that were pretty much wiped out. And that there's going to be another new restaurant that's planned to open in December there, and it's going to be called, what is it called? No, I think it's Nolitz. I have it further in the back of my notes, sorry, but Nolita. So it's going to be an Italian restaurant, and it's so that'll be a new one there at the Ritz in the mix. The district is a cool place. It's part owned by a local realtor, Christopher Schuchart, and also Marty Kenny, who has Sidebar. The district is over there. It used to be the wine store near Goodlet and Central. And they have a little speakeasy in the back, which is kind of cool, called Staff Only. And you go back there and it looks like you're in the back of Dollar Tree if you're going to use the restrooms back there. And it's like, is this public or is this private? And that's kind of what they want. And then there's a staff only door and you go in and it's a whole different little bar area, and cool. It's a neat little setup they have back there. But they're planning more on that corner as well. Rebecca's Wine Bar is opened, and then the Maddox, like I mentioned, is going to be joining it. And of course, it's Rebecca Maddox's project, who started with the 360 Market on Bayshore, and then she added Celebration Park. And so this will be her third and fourth places there on Bayshore Drive. So Rebecca's Wine Bar is kind of a cool little hangout, as well as some popular chains people were happy to see come to the Collier County, with Mission Barbecue and Kelly's Roast Beef just opened. But more new restaurants are coming. I mentioned Nolita, but J. Alexander's is coming to where Buco de Beppo was, on the Trail Boulevard there, off of 41, just south of Vanderbilt Beach Road. That'll be a cool place. I'll be writing about that because they've got a pretty strict dress code there. So I don't know if that's a new trend again coming back or what. Estia is a new Greek restaurant that's coming to where Bo Campers used to be in North Naples, and they pretty much gutted that place and paid $600 a square foot for that. And so I expect some good things there. Again, this plays into this stunning design I'm hoping that they're going to have there. Donato's Pizza, for people might be from Ohio, especially Columbus area, might be familiar with Donato's. It's one of those places they're known for their edge-to-edge pizza. The toppings go like their pepperoni pizzas have 150 little pepperonis on them. And that's going to be bringing their first a few locations to this area. Is going to be where Naples Flatbread used to be on Naples Boulevard, which, by the way, now with the one closing at Mercado, so there's not even the Naples Flatbread doesn't have a Naples location anymore. So and the same thing's going to happen with the Naples Coastal Kitchen, is going to be moving up to where Sorella's was in Bonita. So and it won't have a location in Naples anymore either. So anyway, this another new one called BC Clet Cook Shop I wrote about. It's a new up and coming chef, Kayla Pfeiffer, who you may know. She opened the Mercado or at the Bar Tully at Mercado. She was from the French before that, and then she opened PJK Neighborhood Chinese. But she will be the chef, and she's only 27, and this is going to be really her showcase place called BC Clet. It's kind of an unfortunate name, but it's tied to the the bicycle shop there at the pavilion. So even though you won't be able to go through the buildings as you one to the other like you used to be at Fit and Fuel. Lola 41 is coming to downtown Naples. It's on the other side of the parking garage. The parking garage is by Cambier Park. It used to be, for old timers, the Trailways bus station was there, and they tore that down again, another redevelopment project. And it's there's a bank there, and then this new Lola 41. Again, I'm expecting good things from them as well. Ore and Iron, I mentioned at Founders Square. They'll eventually have another location at Coastland Center, where Macy's, in the Macy's parking lot there, right at the corner of Fleischman and 41. They'll be redeveloping that. There'll be another new out parcel, which they found success with Uncle Julio's, and of course before that Cheesecake Factory, I'm sure is driving it all. And under construction are Twin Peaks and Bahama Breeze as well there. Alamo Draft House Cinema will open near the end of the year, or at least they're planning to. I'm kind of worried about some of these places that come in that don't have ties to the area and don't understand how the permitting process works. And that's why these target opening dates are truly a moving target. You just don't know. And if they don't have somebody that's helping them make their way through this permitting process, I think they want to be open for Christmas, and they're just saying around the first of the year, but I'm hoping they'll be able to do that. But Alamo Drafthouse Cinema is replacing Silver Spot. Mercado wanted to make a change. They're making conscious changes to bring new things in, and they told Silver Spot to beat it and bringing in this new place. So Alamo Drafthouse Cinema, which I wasn't familiar with. And in fact, when I first heard, I said, they're going to it's going to be a bar. I didn't realize it was the same kind of cinema project, but it's interesting. And I think it will bring some new blood there. Great Wolf Lodge, of course, with its indoor water park and a resort, is well under construction. It's a massive place there in the City Gate area. And it's right next to the new Paradise Coast Sports Complex, which we were debating, what do you call that area? It's not really East Naples. It's not Golden Gate Estates. I don't know what it is. It's kind of a no man's land. Just call it Collier County, I guess. But anyway, they're going to be next to U-Lines, which, U-Line opened this year. They have a massive distribution center down there. It's almost a million square feet. That opened earlier. Baron Collier Company's plans Collier Rod and Gun Club at Oil Well Road and State Road 29. Oaks Farm Market, it was of course damaged by Ian's storm surge there on Davis Boulevard, will be rebuilt larger, and they're kind of people calling it seed to table 2. I don't think it's going to be called that. They may have a mezzanine when it reopens and maybe have a slightly larger footprint, but I think it will still be called Oaks Farms Market when it eventually does open. And it could be as long as 2 years, because I'm not even seeing any permits at all for demolition or construction yet. After this coming season, the Aquarius Hotel is expected to rebuild. They're going to tear down the retail strip that has Pastrami Dan's and Tropical Smoothie and Leaky Tiki Barbecue there on 41 in Naples. And it's sad to see Pastrami Dan's go. I don't think they're going to relocate at this point. I mean, anything's possible, but I don't think they will. And I think they've been around for like 40 years. And the new place, the restaurant that will be in Aquarius, it's owned by the same person who has Leaky Tiki Barbecue and the Aqua restaurants, and the same family. And they're going to move Aqua from Fifth Avenue there'll be the hotel where the Aquarius Hotel is. After opening this school year, we just saw the opening this fall of the Aubrey Rogers High School in North Naples, and future elementary schools are already planned on Immokalee Road. 5 years ago, I wrote about when they cleared the land at Immokalee and Moulton Drive. That will now finally happen. I would expect them to break ground. I would say if maybe early 2024. I'm not sure yet, though. I haven't heard a timeline, but that will be the first new elementary school in many, many years. And then they already plan another one the next year in Ave Maria. So there'll be 2 new elementary schools. Again, it makes sense. They're following that growth. The growth's already there, and there'll be more. And I think you will see more schools. I've heard that there could be another high school eventually out that way as well. As people see lots being cleared, that's when I get a lot of my questions. So they'll see bulldozers show up. They see trees coming down, and for whatever reason, you might have realtors have their signs up that they were selling the property or whatever, but you'd rarely see like what's coming. So there'll be the bank who gave them the loan will have a sign, the construction company. So that's when people ask me questions, and they're usually hoping for a restaurant a lot of the times. So even though we have a lot of restaurants, people always want more. And so, but sometimes they're disappointed to find out that new project's going to be another self-storage unit, another bank, another dental office, another car wash, or even some like high-end residences or something that they're usually not really gung-ho about. But as we add more luxury apartments, with some rental units now going for as high as $400,000 a month, or pretty close now, we have a workforce housing issue on the flip side that has been kind of difficult to comprehend. Although nearly everyone agrees that a problem exists, right? When you would take a poll that we need more housing to serve help these workers who are keeping our economy humming, which is of course tourism based. or provide homes for first responders in what we have, of course, are growing needs. Easy solutions still remain out of reach. And a recent state amendment that has, they're expecting it not to have immediate effect on the housing, but it's probably closer to the public-private partnership that's needed to help make a dent in the problem. And still, though, proposals to rezone or to increase density have always received major blowback, especially at these neighborhood information meetings. So, you hear the cry, "Not in my backyard," a lot. With growth comes infrastructure issues. The current project to extend Vanderbilt Beach Road 7 miles eastward into the estates is really not much of a solution to what our problems. No, they're thinking it's for the future. Well, it really just kind of helps alleviate what we already have, traffic problems we already have, especially on Immokalee Road. If you came in like this morning, like I did, I mean, it's just a movable parking lot, for the most part. And the same way on Golden Gate Boulevard. So it's the same kind of thing. But unfortunately, by the time these new roads get approved, move to the process and get funded, and then they get designed and then finally built, we already need more lanes. So just like with the news, it's hard to keep up. But growth, I think, can be viewed in a positive light as well. We have increased opportunities here and expect some incredible opportunities for especially entrepreneurs, property owners, and of course, real estate brokers and sales associates. And you all may be interested to know that, if you didn't already know, that before I expended the time and money in 2015, I double checked with my editor then to make sure it was okay that I got a real estate license. And he approved it, saying, yeah, that might be actually good for your newspaper reporting job. That's a good idea. But yes, I'm one of those involuntarily inactive sales associates that pad the list, the numbers. But years ago, in the face of journalism's decline, I sought another possible revenue stream for myself, another option. But little did I know that the pursuit of that would lead to my undoing at the Naples Daily News after more than 21 years. So I was let go after I shared a link to my real estate Facebook page, which no longer exists, to my In the Know Facebook page. And while it's debatable that it was a conflict of interest or an ethical violation, in my opinion, it wasn't. But at least it wasn't a dismissible offense. Okay. But anyway, it was to Gannett. And so, which, as you know, they've looked for opportunities to clean house and cut costs for quite a while now. After leaving the Naples Daily News in May 2019, my newly named Tim Aten Knows column, before it was In the Know, which they continue on with a new writer who's really not that talented, but he kind of tarnishes the brand. But anyway, Tim Aten Knows and continued on and was published for 3 years in Florida Weekly. And then since last fall, it's been part of Gulfshore Business. I've worked for Gulfshore Business now for about 3 years at Gulfshore Business Magazine, and we have a daily newsletter that gets emailed out. And we just launched the Naples Press in January. And over the top of everything, we're under the same umbrella as Fort Myers Broadcasting, which has the Wink TV. And they also, of course, publish the Gulfshore Life magazine, which is the premier lifestyle magazine in the area. But anyway, I did bring some copies of I hope I didn't see them back on the back table, but I hopefully they're around. Oh, there's some back here now, and there might be some in the front. But I left some boxes of pens, Naples Press pens, and my business cards. So please take those when you leave, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Go to naplespress.com. It is mailed directly to your home, into your mailbox. You'll get it every week. But this summer marked the 17th anniversary of my weekly column, answering local questions. And I have a passion for it. I really like it. And the column has evolved, and which I think has evolved, constantly and consistently with the community over time. The good thing about it is it remains apolitical. And so it's news that's safe to share, You don't have to be embarrassed or realize who you're sending it to. And it's kind of like the weather. You can talk about it with everybody. But the good thing about it is many realtors have been engaged with it for years, and I got lots of questions, and I really appreciate that. Thank you all. But I've been fortunate that it has especially increased in popularity in the last 4 years using Facebook as a yardstick. The Tim's in the Know page has grown significantly, and it started off had about 5,000 followers when I left the daily newspaper 4 years ago. So from 5,000 to well over 36,000 today. So it's been incredible. And you may be able to draw some parallels to finding success as a realtor, because I found it's successful to be an entrepreneur, no matter who you're working for, still be an entrepreneur and build your personal brand and keep evolving and don't ever give up. This is, many opportunities exist, and I think that for y'all, it looks good. The future looks good. And before I answer your questions, I wish you well, and again, thank you for the opportunity today. And I remind you to enjoy the good old days. That's right now. All right.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you. We have two people that are going to be walking around with microphones. So if you have questions, please raise your hand and we'll get them answered for you.
Leslie, you have one over there in the front.
I do. Oh, I have a question. Oh, I got my mic. Hang on. Hi, team. Thank you for all the insights. That was really wonderful. I was hoping to hear a little bit about the butcher. I think there's a lot of really, we haven't heard anything about it. It's very suspicious. You're going to have some like fancy cars in the front, but we don't really hear like what's going on. When is it going to open? Is it going to open to the public and things like that? So I don't know if you have any info on that.
It's not going to open to the public. It was when it was originally announced, Butcher, which was, gosh, at least 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. It was before the pandemic. It was going to be the Butcher Steakhouse. So now they dropped it's just Butcher, and it's no longer a public restaurant. It's a private club. I don't know a lot of details about it because they've kept them pretty close to the vest. I understand that people keep asking, is it open or not? And I think it is open, but I'm not for sure about it. It's been difficult to get information out of them, specifics, and the exotic cars that you're seeing out there. And I saw Rolls Royce just this week when I went to take a picture of the Pearl. I understand that those may be used to pick up guests to bring them there, but I'm not certain. So I don't know if that's part of the mystique to make it look like they're not open, or I'm not even sure what the deal is. I did get a little tour of it when I was peeking through the window one day. I peeked through a lot of windows. So, and the owner was sitting in his car right behind me. I didn't even realize it. And I'm friends with him. And he comes up, hey, Tim, how you doing? And he hugs me and he said, would you like to come inside to look? Sure. And but he wouldn't let me record an interview with him. He wouldn't let me take any photos. And it was far from being done at that point. All I remember is like everything was black. It was like black everything, furniture, all the woodwork, very dark. And they have kind of had a secret room that opens up like a wine room in the back. But I don't know a lot of details about it. I know it is like you have to pay an annual fee like you do for the Maddox, and that you will for the Warren Cocktail Club. So I don't know what the cost is. I know it's thousands of dollars, but I don't know to what extent. But I hope that helps.
We do have another question on Zoom. So anybody on Zoom that has a question, you can type it into the chat or the Q&A section that's listed there. Someone commented, Butcher is open. They've been closed for August and September for off season. And someone asked, any updates on shopping center at 41 and Wiggins Pass?
Yeah, so they're talking about the Gateway Shops in North Bay. Again, an unfortunate name. But it's at Wiggins, the northwest corner of Wiggins and 41. The Publix has filed plans to go there. And people thought they were going to be replacing, in fact, it was reported by the news press folks that it was going to be replacing the Lucky's Market there that never opened. But it's not technically not replacing Lucky's Market because Lucky's Market had a much smaller footprint. I think it was only at the most 30,000 square feet, and this Publix is going to be more than 50,000 square feet, closer to probably 55,000 square feet. So they'll actually be taking the space where DSW Shoes used to be and the Norris Fine Furnishing store that used to be there, plus some of Lucky's Market, because they're going to be barreling a drive-through lane through those buildings somehow. And and that'll be part of Lucky. So they'll have a drive-through pharmacy lane that will go through that existing building. And so that's going to be a little crazy. And I don't know what the timeline is for that. And of course, now, you know, we've already seen more closings there. So, you know, the Bed Bath and Beyond. And I'm not sure what's going to be happening there. Guitar Center just opened there earlier this year, where the pet, what was it, Pets Supermarket, I guess it was. I'm not sure what the pet store, no, it wasn't Pet Supermarket. But whatever. And then the out parcel that's being built, I get asked about a lot. So there's an out parcel, multi-unit out parcel at that being built between Panera Bread and Fifth Third Bank. And that's going to have at least 3 retail units in it. And the one on the northern end is going to be a drive-through restaurant for, again, Kelly's Roast Beef. That'll be their second location to the area, will be there. And Kelly's Roast Beef, by the way, plans a 3rd location down on the East Trail, kind of where Airport meets the East Trail, kind of across from where Starbucks is there, across the street there. It will be another Kelly's Roast Beef. So, and then they plan a couple in Lee County too.
Another Zoom question. Any news of Kroger's coming to town?
No, I haven't heard Kroger's coming even into Florida. I mean, they merged with Albertsons recently, but Albertsons pretty much pulled out of Florida too. So I don't think Kroger's plans. Kroger's has made inroads with their delivery service. I think they may be doing like a distribution center somewhere, and then that you can order and have it delivered products to your home. But I don't think they're going to have brick and mortar stores. At least I haven't heard of any right now.
Okay, we have a question in the room.
Thank you. Amazing, comprehensive, informative speech. Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much I learned this morning. Thank you. I have a question about the hospitals coming in. So Hospital for Special Surgery, right, we know is building an outpost, I guess, here from the major New York outposts that they have now. The Heart Center is coming here. And I think all those things are going to make Naples, it already is the best place in the world, but are going to make it even better. You'll never have to leave Naples, right? Because you'll have all these great doctors here, besides all the great brokers. So I think we're all in for a special treat coming in the next 10 years, as you suggested. Thank you.
There'll be a lot more, of course, because there'll be a lot more people. You're going to need a lot more services. And medical is going to be a major part of it. Yeah, there'll be, in fact, the project that I was talking about, the Randall Curve one, that has a new NCH medical center that's going to be going there. They just tore down the Bears Den on Immokalee Road. They'll be doing, NCH is expanding in that area. And there's where the old, where Collins Hotel was last. It was, if you've been around a while, it was Ramada Inn. And then before that, it was a Holiday Inn in Naples. That's being torn down for a Northwestern College or university medical center of some sort. I don't know what the details are there, but yeah, there'll be a lot more. That's part of the services, the amenities that the area is going to need.
Okay, so we have time for one more question. One more from the room.
Hi, what, do you know what stores are going in the new Vanderbilt Galleria? They built that out parcel. And do you know what's going in there, if there's anything?
The shops at Vanderbilt, they put a new building in right as you go into the entrance off of airport. And the only retail place that's open so far in there is called Casanova. I think it's Casanova Fashions, and forget what the other part of it is, but they sell like the glass and art and fashions. And they actually moved. They used to have a location at Bayfront, and they had one in the Venetian Village, and they just combined them both to this one location. And they wanted to get away from the water from both of those. And then there'll be a place called Crave Cookies I think it's the name. Another one of those cookie places that you see. We have Crumble, and we just had one open up in Estero, and this will be another cookie place, Crave. There's a little place called, I want to say I think it's called MoMA, like a boba tea type of place that's going to go in there. Outside of that, I can't think there. I'm sure I must know more about it, but that's all I know. And then, by the way, that Shops at Vanderbilt have 2 more out parcels that will be built there on either side of, I get mixed up, it's Walgreens or CVS. I think it's CVS over there, right? So on either side of CVS, they're going to be new out parcel buildings as well that you'll be seeing probably start construction and, pretty soon.
Now, we all love restaurants, shops and everything, but the thing is, where are the people that going to actually work there? Where are they going?
Well, that's part of the thing. Yeah, yeah, it's tough. I mean, for restaurant, historically, we've had a lot of folks who work in restaurants drive in from Cape Coral, from Lehigh, different places in the estates, which really aren't even affordable anymore. So, I mean, it remains to be seen. They have to kind of like it was at the newspaper, you had reporters and photographers living together to make ends meet. And I think that's what they have to do a lot of way, kind of a communal setting. But no, it remains to be seen. Like where are these folks going to come by that do the landscaping and that kind of thing. So, but no, I appreciate it again. If you didn't get to your questions today, you hopefully pick up a business card, or you can contact me. I get questions emailed to me. I get questions from all through social media. You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Yeah, my cell number's on there. You can even text me if you just put your name on there. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Tim. Big round of applause.
Thank you.